it and it goes right to his head.
Yes, it is wrong, right.
Now that we've taken care of business, the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting is now called to order. Roll call, everyone but Scott.
Here he is. Here he is. He's
Oh, wait a
coming.
minute, Scott's here. We will wait a minute. Okay, everyone is here. If we will please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Do I have a motion to, before I have a little housekeeping, the website is not working for the town, but the meeting is being broadcast on YouTube, so anybody who needs to or wants to listen, please go to YouTube. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I so move.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Everybody has had a chance to review the meeting, the minutes of the last meeting of June 19th.
Move approval of the meeting, of the minutes, June 19th.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, go to my favorite, is Mr. Kilmer. Give us a briefing.
Thank you. This is regarding the non-residential design review committee. Our last meeting, we had a number of applicants. The first was the Top Sail Steamer BBD LLC. We approved 2 new hanging signs, and one sign for, and a sandwich sign. They're located at 98 Garfield Parkway, Suite 109, at the Blue Surf. This is a very interesting company. They are in multiple towns, and they put all the ingredients together in a bowl. You take it home and you cook it, boil it, I guess, steam it. The other one is, the applicant was Carlos Granados, a new wall sign for a new business, Lily's Place, located at 99 Garfield Parkway, Unit 4. And that also was approved by the Non-Residential Design Review Committee.
Thank you, Lou.
That's fine.
Are there any public comments or questions from the general public? And since I only see one general public person out there, Mr. Healy, I would, on behalf of the Planning and Zoning Commission, we do thank you for your service for the town of Bethany Beach. For those who don't know it, Joe has decided to retire, and now he's just going to give us a bunch of grief from the audience. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.
The fellow there sitting next to you, he was very happy to see you.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm in charge of keeping him under control. So,
You better wear your
that's it. I have a shirt for him.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. Healy has agreed to stay on the Budget Committee, and, which is from my standpoint, a very welcome effort on his part, and I want to thank him.
Thank
If I could, we should also recognize the newest member.
Well, I was going to do
Sorry.
that. The vice chair always likes to step on my toes. That came from his high school upbringing, Joe. Yeah, okay. And the second comment I would like to make is, one of our members is officially leaving us, I guess, after today as a voting member. Scott Edmondson has been appointed to take Mr. Healy's spot on the council, and on behalf of the planning and zoning, we're going to miss you, but maybe not miss you, and we do appreciate what you've done so far, and congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it sounds like you won't be missing me too much. Lou asked me to stay on and be the town council's liaison to the zoning commission, so you'll still see me every one Saturday morning a month.
And, well, I might as well go one more, and I want to thank Lou Kilmer, and I can't thank him enough, for 500 years on the Planning and Zoning Commission, I think, officially on the planning, as the chairman and the council representative, you know, the commission, well, they owe everything to Joe. He's sort of run it the whole time, and we do appreciate it. I've been on it 10 or 11 years, and without Lou, then, you know, I don't think a lot of this stuff would get done. He has promised me this morning that he would not be leaving. He would be sitting in the audience and providing assistance and comments whenever the chair needs it, or the vice chair in some cases, and the rest of the commission. So, Lou, our thanks for you and your efforts over the years.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say one thing too, is that I think there were a number of really qualified people who put their name in the ring to be on the town council this time, Diane especially, and I'm honored to serve with the town council, but I think if I knew all of those people were putting their name in, I might not have put mine in, because I feel like the town would have been in really good hands anyway. So I just wanted to make a special mention of Diane there, and also just say to everyone who did put their name in there, that, and I know Diane will, but the others should continue to serve the town, because they're all, I think, valuable assets.
Yes, there were 7 people. Seven people put their name in.
Wow.
That's good.
Well, I guess that's enough for the day. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Okay. Moving along, believe it or not, we do have some new business that we need to take care of prior to doing the review of
Do you
the
want me to
tenant
talk
plan.
about what happened yesterday at the town council meeting?
Well, I thought you were finished. Oh,
I didn't say a word.
well, you
talked
kept
about-
quiet. Okay, yes, please do. Thank you.
Obviously, Scott was thrilled. We're also, we are looking to update the town's purchasing policy as required, as things change at the state and county level. We have to follow those things. We also are purchasing 2 new 2021 Chevy Tahoe police packages, each for $34,389. One is totally paid by the county, and the other one's coming out of our capital funds. It's a very good deal because the original price was $52,400. We're also approved a contract for Adel Construction in the amount of $185,900 to do Central Boulevard Drainage Project, which is well overdue, and as you well, there's a lot of issues over there, and so hopefully this will resolve many of them, if not all of them. And we also voted not to have our town council meeting in September, a regular meeting in September, because of the fact that that's been all resolved. We'll have an organizational meeting that following week in September. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Lou.
Mr.
Oh,
Chairman?
I'm sorry, I have a couple of other things. My fault. We have a YouTube channel, but many people are not. We only have 250 people who have actually signed up, and YouTube needs us to have at least 1,000. So we're encouraging people to go to our website and go to the YouTube icon and register on the site so we can get those kind of numbers.
Is that being put out on the Town of Bethany Beach site to request people?
I would imagine it would be.
Okay.
Lou? Lou?
Yes.
So we go to the town site to get onto the YouTube to sign
Yes.
up? Okay.
As of just this second, we now have 274 subscribers.
Wow, I had that
There you
much
go.
influence.
No, it was me.
You-
Actually, it was John. He told me to say it.
As you will know, because of the pandemic, we allowed people with residential parking passes to park all at the beach ends. And to be quite honest with you, because of that and other monies that we've received over the course of the year, we only saw a drop in meter revenue of 0.6%.
Good.
So that's working out very well. Also, Comcast, Comcast will begin to install base infrastructure to provide residential service to Bethany Beach. The first install will almost be 2 miles of cable in Half Moon Drive and 4 cul-de-sacs in Bethany West. So that's the first installation of Comcast. Hopefully it'll be all done within a couple of months. And also, there's a request, there's a lot of requests for our 5G service on our beaches. And as like Dewey Beach, and we were saying the problems about, we want to make sure that the 5G antennas are as plain or blended into the environment as possible. So we're working with the Verizon and AT&T to make them less visible, such as camouflaging them as like little poles, but they don't look like antennas, or putting them on streetlights. So that's another thing we're hoping to do. And that's it. I'm done now.
John?
Well, I just wanted to ask, do you have the name of that guy at Kirtrick that sold us those two for $34,000 off a list of 52? I'd be very interested in talking to him.
Oh, no, this is a state contract. It's a state contract.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah, I said that, mentioned that, yeah.
I'd
Probably,
love,
but both the prices are based on a state contract. Yeah.
I'd love to get a 2021 Tahoe for $34,000.
It says police on the
With,
side?
with a police package.
Oh, yeah. Even better. Everybody will stop at the stop sign in front of my house now.
But John, the red.
Mr. Chairman, I actually wore red, and I didn't have the gray, but I had a red and white shirt on yesterday in honor of Mr. Healy stepping down. Thank you for
Okay.
indulging me.
Okay. Okay,
No, I'm done.
now we're ready to begin the meeting.
Now you're ready to roll.
Andrew, you're going to have to start taking notes now. Okay, we do have one new business that Susan will address, and I'll read out what we have on the agenda. Discuss adding the following language concerning pervious paving to section 425-27, exterior design requirements for residential buildings. And the item we're going to consider is item C, pervious paving in all zoning districts, all new and substantially improved paved areas not within the footprint of the structure, including but not limited to driveways, sidewalks, parking areas, patios, and pool surroundings, shall be of a permeable material with a minimum 10% open area. Examples of permeable paving include, but are not limited to, porous asphalt, porous concrete, stone, clamshells, and permeable pavers. Susan?
Yeah, that just about says it. Scott actually worked on this, and I added a little bit to it. The only change that I want to make to it is that in section 425-27, it's actually exterior design requirements for residential. And we really don't have an issue with commercial because we don't have setbacks. So it should say in all residential zoning districts in C, pervious paving, not just all zoning districts. And then I think that captures the entire intent of what we're trying to do. because we don't have anything in commercial that really is necessary at this time.
Okay. The commission's heard this. Do we have any comments?
I have one question, Susan, and Scott probably can answer this too. When someone, if there's a problem with, if you're going to replace something, does this come in place? I mean, if you have to repair a large portion of something, you have to do it with impervious material, porous.
Yeah, a lot of people redo their driveways and they go, oh, it's stone, now I want to make it asphalt. So
Yeah.
yeah, they would have to make it
Okay.
a porous asphalt material.
That's where the substantially improved. So normally the barrier for that's like 50% of the cost or something? Is that how it would work in a,
Well, if he's just patching something, no. But,
Right, I
but if he's
understand if
doing
you're
a whole
patching something,
driveway,
yeah, right.
yeah. And then maybe, Scott, you could talk about where, just so we clarify it, where you got the minimum 10%.
basically, that would allow for a lot of pervious pavers. So like your landscape pavers or, driveway pavers. So it's just a metric. I thought we needed to put something in there so that you have, some minimum requirement for whatever if you used pervious concrete or pervious asphalt, there would be some metric that you and John could actually enforce. I mean, that's open for discussion. We can pick any number we want, but 10% is a pretty low bar.
But how would one determine 10%?
Manufacturer specs. So just like with the Atlantic Avenue restoration, we knew that the paving that they're going to put down there meets whatever that standard is that we were requiring. So, if you're getting it from the concrete company, they're telling you that this is going to be the minimum of this percentage open when we're finished pouring it.
So we're looking at the porous size of
Paver.
each of the, if they're pavers.
Yeah.
Each paver would have to have a minimum 10%.
Right, so if you think about it as a paver, what it would mean is that your driveway is 90% paver and 10% gap between pavers. Or, so that could come in many shapes, like, those grass pavers that are a grid that grass grows through are probably more like 75% open or something, so.
But the pavers themselves are not porous.
Not in the case of a paver. What you're looking at is the actual, the whole application. Those pavers will have like a tab on it that requires a separation between each
Yes.
paver, so it's intended to be that way.
So in the case of pavers, what you're talking about is a space between the pavers, and that should be a minimum of 10%.
Right.
No,
think the
because
actual
we're
pavers should be-
talking about permeable material,
Mm-hmm.
so not space between pavers. We want permeable
Well,
material.
but that was my point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to understand what that means.
Right. But yeah, but I don't think we just want regular pavers with space between it adding up to that 10%.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't think
sorry.
that
So
was the
what
intent.
I'm meaning by that is that there are permeable pavers that when they're installed, the tabs on the sides of the pavers create that open space. So the paver themselves might actually be a solid material, but in order to cut it without open space, you'd have to cut each of those tabs off. The labor on it would be ridiculously expensive.
Okay.
Or you could have actually open permeable pavers. I mean, I'm fine with it. However, I just think we need to propose something that.
But isn't the purpose of if I can understand this, the purpose of those little tabs is to actually create a space between each paver, but the paver himself are not permeable.
In that application, we could say we don't want that. We could say we actually want the paver itself to be
permeable.
Be
pervious.
permeable.
Well, that's
yeah.
what it says, right?
Yeah.
Shall be of a permeable material.
Examples of permeable
Yeah.
materials.
And then it says with a minimum of 10% open area, which is not the paver
And
itself,
permeable pavers at the end.
correct, or not?
That's two separate things.
That's two separate
Okay.
things, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is going to
That's
be,
why I was
Wait a minute,
confused
wait a
when I
minute.
was asking.
That's
Well, I
what
don't understand
I thought I
that.
understood it, but yeah, I was thinking we always have a permeable material.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's what, I think that's what it says.
that's what that says.
Yeah.
That was my intent.
And then you have to have a 10%, in addition,
You have to have the 10%.
exactly, you have to have a 10% open area. That's,
How would that work with
Asphalt or
asphalt
concrete.
or
I don't know, that's what I'm asking. But that's not what it says.
Right, and Scott had put that in there, and I'm trying to, I thought I understood what it meant, but now I don't.
Yeah, and that's why I was confused when I talked to you yesterday about that.
Yeah,
Well, what does that mean?
so it's good. We want to hash this out now and not while you're reviewing a permit application. The, yeah, yeah.
That's true.
Round one.
So this is gonna be difficult to see, but, you know, I just looked up permeable pavers. These systems here, the paver itself is not permeable, but the install creates 10% of an open area. And so I don't know that you want to prevent people from doing this, because it's actually, I mean, it's one of the more expensive paving systems you could put in your house. It's pretty nice.
How is a building inspector to determine that's, all those little spaces together represent 10%?
The manufacturer provides that documentation.
You
So
get-
on like the,
You'd get this is going to be installed, it's an install, so they would tell me, we're going to put in this system.
so in this case, this Unilock, they'll say, we're gonna put a Unilock paver system in, here's the cut sheet on it, it meets the requirements. Or it doesn't, you know, and that's, so it's not about, like in Rehoboth, they're counting covered area, so permit submissions include like dimensions of bluestone pavers and stuff, so that you know, so someone would not have to submit a drawing of the driveway showing like how much open area there is. They just need to provide a cut sheet on the product detail that'll say, this is how permeable this specific product is. So it's pretty standard.
Scott, are there
So then,
pavers that are more permeable?
so it should say
Yeah.
or, permeable material, or with a minimum,
Yes.
right?
So so the proposal is 10% permeable for the area
No,
that
it's-
we're
it-
dealing
it
with, correct?
Should be if I'm understanding this correctly, it should be, shall be of a permeable material or with a minimum 10% open area.
Yeah, because, permeable asphalt or permeable concrete has a lot more than 10%.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's,
10%'s a low bar.
Yeah, so.
and that's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, so if you're going to put pavers in, then we're dealing with two issues here. Whether the paver itself is permeable or the space around each is the porous area, and that has to be a minimum of 10%.
So back to my question is, the way it's written and the way we're discussing it now is, we're only asking or only requiring that the areas, a driveway, whatever it is got 10% permeable material or open space in. That's how this is written.
I understand, but what I'm saying is there's a word missing. And it should say, if I'm understanding how this works correctly, is it is of a permeable material or of a material with a minimum of 10% open space.
Okay, then that creates a situation where you could have a permeable material with spaces, 10% of spaces.
No, they're two separate things.
I understand it. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, let me
Sorry.
try again. My original question was, what's being proposed only requires a minimum of 10% permeability, correct?
In 10%. That would be the lowest point you could do.
So 10%.
That's what.
That's what it
I
said.
don't know how Scott came up with that number, but
But that's,
that's what
well, that's,
that's a typical number.
It's like it's basically so where I wanted to start was like, this is the lowest bar. We can bring it up, you know, so Lou, to your point, it could be higher than that, like on
well, that's why I want to make sure the commission understands, we're saying 10%.
10%'s a low bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go to 11 or you can go to 50, but if you had a permeable material they're using, it
would
would be
exceed
higher
that.
of some sort. So the question I have, to make sure that we understand it, is that the bar is 10%.
Does that meet with like that interlocking paver that you were just looking at? What is the,
I'm gonna guess that interlocking paver was like 15%. A 10% open area is gonna be a pretty tight weave. I mean, I've seen people play basketball on it, so it's not gonna be like a wide gap. So we could set that number higher if we wanted. I just wanted to
or we
draft
can
something that had a
take
low
it out
bar.
altogether and just say it has to be a permeable material?
Yeah.
Done with
My
it.
question is, so if you don't, so you could get away with putting something not as pervious. I mean, if you do the concrete, that's, has to be
Permeable.
permeable. So then, but you could go the other way, and you wouldn't have to use permeable material as long as you had the 10%. So, I mean, wouldn't it be better to encourage people to have the most permeable?
Well, yes, I mean, that's the whole purpose of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
But, I mean, here's another question I have, Scott. With a 10% minimum, if the whole purpose of it is to reduce or minimize nuisance flooding, and if 10% is a minimum and doesn't meet that requirement, then it doesn't have much benefit of what we're trying to do.
Doesn't hold enough water?
Good, yeah, that was good, actually. But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I would make it 80% if it were me. I mean, if it was my own house. I just also think we want to make, you know, you have to balance recognizing that some people want it to be.
Some people want canopies on the beach, and we don't, we took care of that. Yeah, I guess my recommendation would be just get rid of the percentage and say it's got to be permanent material, and that does limit, and I agree with you, Scott, it does limit some of the manufacturers, but so be it. It gives us what we want, which is a permanent, that's the idea.
Well,
Make sure it's
I
permanent.
worry that if you don't have a minimum, then, you know, you don't have anything to hold them to. So what I would recommend is I would suggest is we make the minimum higher, if that's what we want to do. We make the minimum percentage higher. So same thing with like permeable asphalt or permeable concrete. We want to have some percentage listed for that, so that we know the minimum spec, so that you know, Susan has the power to say, no, this 5% minimum asphalt is not good enough. It's got to be higher than that.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
But is 10% too low?
I think so.
Yeah, you don't have to twist my arm to convince me of 10% being too low. I actually started.
Suggested 80%.
I started purposely with low, you know, so I think we can go higher than that for sure.
From your expertise, what do you think a minimum should be? Like, for instance, what's typical for permeable asphalt or permeable
that's what I
concrete?
was
What's the typical specs on that?
That's what I'm trying to.
Shouldn't we have that as our minimum?
Absolutely, yeah,
Absolutely,
absolutely. I agree.
I'm looking that up right now.
I mean, think that would be our base. So you have to match that.
So everyone, it's equal to everybody. If you're putting in something, everybody has to do this percentage.
Yeah.
So just a quick search shows that the void content of pervious concrete would be 15 to 35%. I think permeable pavers, the image that I showed you, that was probably like a 15% opening. So if you go much higher than that, you're going to prevent people from doing the permeable pavers that have like the solid paver with the open area between it, which maybe you want to do. That's fine. I don't really take a position on that. You wouldn't limit anybody from doing any kind of gravel or anything like that, or clamshells. All of that's 100% essentially permeable. So I would say 15% would be the number. I think, you know, but it can be higher. If you make it higher, it'll be easier for me to make my clients do cool stuff.
What is our, the paving that we did up on Atlantic, what is that? Do we have
Off
any?
the top of my head, I don't know. I'd have to look into that.
Yeah. I don't know, I'm getting the feeling that the commission likes more the better. I mean, that's, I'll entertain any comment on that. And I think from the standpoint of what we're trying to do, what people want to do in the future versus what the Planning and Zoning Commission, ultimately the council, will look at is they want more drainage. And if that eliminates some manufacturers, so be it. I mean, we've done that on a lot of things. So That's just a general comment from the chair. John?
Mr. Chairman, I was thinking about how to put this proposal in context for any of the 274 people who might be listening in. And my explanation was going to be that this was a follow-on similar to what we did on the South Atlantic repave with pervious materials. And now we are taking that approach and applying it to residential area and driveways and so forth. And so whatever standard we had in that contract would be the standard that from a symmetry standpoint, would fit, so that if someone questioned, why can't I use this, to say a particular thing, to say, we started this on South Atlantic, and we're taking that same standard and applying it to whatever project you have.
Well, may I comment on that? If a person wants to put pavers as their driveway, and if there are porous pavers available, I don't know if there are or not, but if there are porous pavers available, then that should be the requirement, not, not having a paver that is not impermeable, using the space around each paver as a way of meeting your requirements. Because I think there you're gonna have mostly just runoff. It'll just run off, because, when we have a rain or something like that, it's not gonna have enough time to soak in those little spaces. So, my question to you, is there porous pavers available?
I'm mostly familiar with the kinds of pavers that create open space. So and that looks like anything from like a grass paver that has a solid kind of, diamond, and in the inside of the diamond is grass, but the concrete that makes up that diamond is not porous. So I think if we said it has to be a permeable material, and Susan, correct me if you think I'm wrong about this, but I think you'd be eliminating pavers as a possibility altogether. So and that 2 notes, Lou, you mentioned that it's about eliminating nuisance or reducing nuisance flooding. That's true. It's not going to do much for like actual flooding. What it does is slows down runoff. It allows water to seep into the driveway rather than to run off of it. We don't have any like real steep slopes in town. There's not a lot of that. So it's going to make it into a 15% open space. It's going to go down rather than sheet flow off of it the way that it would do off of on a non-pervious concrete surface. So I think you want to require a minimum open percentage or a pervious paving product. It's either or. I mean, you can see John's got a bunch of the
Right.
Pervious paving applications.
Are those pervious pavers, John, that you pulled up for us?
Looks like a lot of them are, it's the spacing in between. Let me click on one and see what it says.
Yeah.
Well, there's green, how about porous pavement right there, green solution?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't.
So it says, impermeable or permeable interlocking paver on the left side, permeable interlocking paver, and then porous concrete, another version of porous concrete, and then porous asphalt. So
they have them.
you have porous concretes and porous asphalts, which when they're poured, they have a percentage of open area, percentage of void area, and then you have like impervious material, but by the way that it's laid, by the tabs that space it, create open areas that allow infiltration between the pavers. So I think both are acceptable methods of making a pervious driveway or pervious patio or whatever.
So one requires to mow your driveway and the other one doesn't?
Well, you can have rocks in between it, yeah. It requires some weeding.
Impervious rocks.
So do I understand there are no pervious pavers?
No, it
I-
says
They're right there.
I don't know,
Permeable or?
I don't know that there are
Well, the
no
way they're
pervious
spaced,
pervious.
but the actual
Yeah,
material they're made of.
I don't know that there are none, but I know that it's far more common to see a non-pervious paver that's spaced,
correct.
that creates an open area.
And these have, generally, they have water collection underneath them, right? I mean, it's not just pavers on sand.
Yeah, it's a base layer that allows water to infiltrate, but it's not like necessarily what we were looking at on the property, the Onofre property, where they were gonna come in and actually do collection and retention underneath. That would be a pretty onerous requirement, I think, if we made every
Yeah, that's true.
resident do that.
Yeah.
But these will help. And the other thing I wanted to say is I think of this as like a sort of a stopgap. I mean, right now, there is no limit on how much area you can pave on your yard. So I think that's an issue. I don't think you should be able, pervious or impervious, be able to pave your whole yard. I think it's kind of an eyesore, and it certainly doesn't help with runoff in any way. That's something I think we should tackle.
We have better code, right?
We have no minimum for how much you can pave your lot.
You can take
You can-
your
You can pave your
5,000 square
entire
foot lot and pave the whole thing.
Pave the whole thing.
Right now, you can pave it all with impervious concrete.
Right, I just had one done, and they did the backyard, they put in a small
Pool.
pool and paved and stone, put concrete or pavers and did the whole thing. And the other thing with those is I'm seeing a lot of people put in that AstroTurf, which I'm not sure how that
Yeah,
helps anything instead of grass.
yeah,
I don't even know what it feels
They
like.
can squeeze you in.
yeah. But I mean, that's probably concrete underneath the AstroTurf, right? So
There's
it-
something, yeah,
so it-
but,
So that's a problem, and
That's just a runoff there.
right.
Yeah.
And Ron Califf pointed out that there are also impervious weed mats that go underneath, like mulching and stuff. And so that's an issue we may want to address here, because of these things look like they are pervious. They look like they're doing something good, but they're actually just pushing water to either public areas or to
you don't
neighbors.
do landscaping though, so those would be
It's tough.
under the radar
Yeah.
for a lot of situations.
It might have to be like that's what I thought. It's like you add we'd have to add an inspection, which would be onerous on the town.
Yes, it would be.
For landscaping.
Scott, are you talking
We
about
could
the
get into
black
some of
cloth
it, but,
that you,
There are some black cloths that have an open mesh that allow, that theoretically don't allow weeds to grow through, but do allow water to infiltrate. There are others that are just like, essentially tar paper that you're putting
Yeah,
down. And those are bad.
so even if you used the pervious method, if you put down that cloth underneath, that would negate the whole,
Potentially,
yeah.
yeah. Some of the cloths.
So wouldn't that require an inspection, or?
I think that maybe the way to deal with that is as a code enforcement issue. It's not an inspection, but if a neighbor complained about it, they could
What? They could what?
have John come out and say, rip it out or
What,
something.
rip
I
it
don't
all
know.
out?
I mean, the other option is but the other option is to add an inspection, which is gonna be hard. I don't see how
I think another point made here is that possibly we have two things. We have pervious material and we have a requirement that so much of the lot, even a smaller, it remains open space.
yeah,
And I think
natural
that's
open
something we
space.
have to
I
look
think
at.
we should look at that, have a minimum open space requirement on each lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that we could either try to do that now, or we could say, for right now, we're saying,
I think we should come back to it. I think I would like to sit down and take a look at what our setbacks are, what a driveway is, and what's left after that, and what we could reasonably ask for as a minimum of open space. And then we'll deal with pervious materials and materials with a minimum of some open space to them.
I agree. I think this needs more review and discussion.
Because I think people, this is their, a lot of these are absentee homeowners. They're not here a lot. They don't want to do a lot of yard work. They don't want to have the grass to cut, and they go ahead and cover a lot of their, and I'm seeing more and more of it. And pools right now are super popular, so.
Impervious paving is, based on what Scott's been talking about, it's really, that's only one of two items. One is, yeah, it can be pervious, and once it gets right to the bottom of the pervious part, all of a sudden it stops. So you've really not eliminated what we think is a problem. Yeah, I agree with you, Susan. Could we, could you just look at it again and come back with something
This has
else?
been real helpful. It's
Yeah.
brought up a lot of points we want to think about, and I think that we should look at it again.
There's one other thing to add to it, which is pool copings, which can't really be pervious.
Right.
that?
Your pool coping, your 12 inches around the pool can't, you have to protect the back of the pool, like the concrete of the pool. So you don't want to, if you have a pervious paving around, immediately around your pool, you'll
Well, that's part,
undermine.
I would consider that part of the pool, which is,
Yeah,
that can't be permeable either.
right,
It's
yeah.
the whole,
Yeah. So that's fine, as long as it's
Especially when
considered
they
part of the
cover
pool.
it.
it's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, we tried this time, but I think we brought up some good points.
We learned a lot.
Yeah, we did. So I
We
appreciate
needed to
that.
have this as a discussion.
Right. So, Susan, are you going to be at the next meeting?
Yes,
Okay,
I will be back.
you will be, good. Could we, do you think you have time to be able to work on this?
Yeah.
Between now? Okay.
Yes, this is an excellent time for
All right, Andrew, we'll put this one on the next meeting, if you will. Are there any other comments before we go to old business? Okay, let's move on to old business. This is a general review of the comprehensive plan that we've been doing for a few months now. So with that, we'll just start again. And do we know what, I forgot to bring my book with me, but of course I did.
Page, was it,
But I have John next to me, so I'm in good shape.
what page was it, John? 60?
61.
61,
We're on
okay.
page 61.
I just want to bring up, at the last meeting, I was given a couple things to update, and they have been updated. So the housing growth, and such, Table 10, Table
Thank you.
11. I think housing stock was updated,
66 on here.
and that was just updated as edited, and as suggestion, I think we updated the floodplain information, so it's in there, but open for discussion, and Parks and Rec and stuff on page 37 and 38. So they've all been done.
Just go on.
John?
I think
Yes,
it's
Judy.
John,
I'm sorry.
you're on.
Oh,
Scott, Jimmy.
no, Susan.
Yes, sir.
I was trying to find, we're obviously working.
Well, we need to, it's updated there, it's not updated in here, right? What did you want?
I was just trying to catch
6.3.
up where you said you had updated some charts and so forth, and I'm,
John, can you turn it to,
I'm on page 61.
yeah, can we back it up to page 30?
Okay. is she on now?
Page 30.
Where are we? Okay, yeah, all right, go forward. 'Cause these, yeah, these are different pages.
36?
37.
Keep going. These are different.
John.
All right, here.
The numbers in the
Nope,
book are
that's not
different
it.
than the numbers in
I
the
see it on, I think I see it on page 30 right there, right?
39. Housing growth.
They're all
Yeah, this
confusing.
was updated. See, it says Bethany Beach 2016 to 2020
Why does it show page
in table 10.
Page 39.
So that's all been updated, John? And
Okay.
it's on page 30 in our book,
Yeah, it's on page 30 in
but it's
my
on
Google
page
Doc also.
39 here. I don't know.
It's wild.
Right now, if you go to the next page, John. Right.
What's it, page
Here.
39 on here?
Got
This
it.
was updated to 2020,
On here.
or 2014 to 2020.
I don't know what's, I don't know what's 39 on
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
John's numbers are like
Okay,
updated.
page 31, bottom 31.
And then if we keep going,
Because I've added stuff. So
We've got
this,
your
do we
ads
have
in.
the, do we have the thing where it has the comments on the side? Oh, open with Google Docs, at the
Okay,
top,
so-
John.
Oh, that's why.
Oh, he was in a Google Docs.
Yeah, he was looking at the actual document.
Uh-huh.
the page in the book is all on the page.
So,
that's
Susan, it does start on page 30 on the Google Docs.
On the Google Docs,
That's
all
why I was
right.
like, what is going on?
Yeah, then we want to go to page 35.
35.
35?
35 will be page
3.0.
44 on your little
44.
tab on the side there, John, in your scroll bar.
No, you're right.
That's done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Recommendation two. All right, go back one page. All right, hang on. Okay, this was updated where it's building standards in floodplains and flood fringe areas. And this was just edited, not as a suggestion, because that's all what it actually is. And then page 37. Going. Or not.
Who do you want to get?
Oh, we went off from that.
Commercial lodging. Keep going down. Parks and Rec. Let's see.
Park and rec areas.
Wait, you're going too fast, John. Can you back up just, right there, stop. All right, let's see.
It's 37.
Okay, yeah, that was updated with the wall-check properties, so that was done. And I think that's it. There might have been other stuff. Okay, that's all, John. We'll go back to 61.
We going to 61 now?
Was that where we stopped?
Yeah.
Yes,
61.
Section 8, environmental protection.
It's actually 66.
What page are we
It's
on?
66.
There's even a note from Will.
61.
Diane actually added a bunch of stuff on page 56 too.
I added what Lou has sent me.
Yes.
There's two tables that, and we'll have to go back and redo all the table numbers because
Yes.
they're out of sync. But they were scanned, so they just come in as they were scanned in, and on the next page on 61. So they'll have to be just touched up and figured out how we put them into a good-looking table. then also on page 63. Oh, no, that's Susan's. Okay, I got Susan's, okay.
You also added, on page
These page
56,
numbers kill it.
notes on upgrades at the water treatment plant and improvements.
Right.
I don't know if we want to look at those or just accept them in
It's
the,
except, I mean,
Yeah, from
I
Water
got them,
Treatment Plant, yeah.
you know, directly from
okay,
the town, so,
they're in there now.
yes. Both Kathy and Diane have been helping. I've been gathering information, and they've been putting it in.
Scott, there was another place where I put in numbers also that were just suggested that'll go back. They'll show up, we can edit them.
Okay.
I just wanted to double check those numbers before we went to actually editing. I mean, double check the numbers that Lou sent me, that I typed them in right. Wait, there was something, Kathy, there was something with your name on it back there too.
Really?
I wanted to make sure, the update.
Must have just been spelling or something.
Scott, on page 55, Scott?
I just accepted all of the, there's something, annual operating expenses are
Yeah.
budgeted at 1.132
Oh, yeah.
million for fiscal year 2018.
I don't know if that,
Yeah,
Lou?
probably needs to be updated.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's okay?
Mhm.
We had the annual, on page, what's it under?
It's page 55
Page, okay.
on the computer, not in the document, but
It's in the water. I guess we're questioning, is the annual operating expenses?
Yeah,
up-
John, see that could, I don't have the current numbers. See that on that one?
No, he has
That's
it,
for
John has it.
2018.
yeah.
Could we update that, John? Yep. Thank you.
Okay. That.
I don't know where we are. These numbers are given,
What's that?
I don't know where we are. And the numbers are
God, where
confusing.
are we?
The problem, the book and that
In
don't
the-
match.
in the
Yeah, they don't
document.
match now.
That's the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, they don't match.
book is-
But if you go by
Other sections.
section, maybe we should refer to it by section number.
Section, not page.
Okay. yeah, let's do
What's
that.
the
Go by
section?
sections.
Where
So
are
we're
we
on
now?
section 8? Is that correct?
We just jumped back a minute, but
That's not
we're,
clean, is that?
On section 8.
All right, we're in section 8.
A very, correct. Oh, so that's
Well,
clean, that they let sit outside.
do we want to look, Susan added stuff in section 7.4, the
Yeah.
bicycles and pedestrians,
Yeah, let's,
which is, John, on page 63. Here you go.
Oh, that's all of what we've been doing, yeah. And that was done as a suggestion.
Yeah, I mean, so Susan added that DelDOT prepared a pedestrian and bicycle study and has been active in mitigating the problems associated with pedestrians, bicycles, and traffic. Directional arrows for cyclists and pedestrians have been painted on Route 1. New street lighting was recently added to Route 1 and Garfield Parkway. Innovative walk-stop signals have been added to Route 1. The town has also been proactive on solving the problems pedestrians and cyclists face in the redesign of Cedarwood Street and South Atlantic Avenue. Pedestrian walkways were added. Additional bike racks have been spaced throughout the town. Stop signs have been added on Collins Street to slow traffic down. Speed bumps have been installed on Collins Street and on Central Boulevard and Gibson Avenue near the intersection. The town is exploring the feasibility study concerning constructing an elevated walkway/bicycle path across the wetlands of the recently purchased properties fronting on Garfield Parkway that would connect Second Street and Tingles Addition to Central Boulevard, creating a second access route away from traffic. The town recently formed a bicycle and pedestrian safety committee to further review the issues and suggest improvements. The town recently lowered the speed limit on town streets to 20 miles per hour. Any additions, clarifications?
Well, looks good to me.
That's good.
It's in there. just gonna accept the stuff that was deleted. Now are we on section 8?
No.
Section 8?
Yeah.
So section 8, environmental protection, I think is where we are now, which is 65 on our document if you're following along.
We're going to section 8.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, now addressing Section 8 entitled Environmental Protection. The section of the plan addresses environmental concerns in the town of Bethany Beach, including water supply and quality, soil typology and quality, the condition and maintenance of the beach strand, critical natural area identification and protection, and special projects being undertaken. I would offer this as a general comment. I mean, since we're going to be talking about like types of soil and all, the basic information that's in here isn't going to have changed. I mean, the nature of the substance of our ground soil and all is the same.
Correct.
But many of the either charts, maps, or studies that are referred to in here now are getting to be a bit dated.
Correct.
Because, as an example, under Section 8, 8.1 water, it talks about a 2008 DENREC study to confirming a decline in water quality. So that, I don't know if there's a later study now,
I don't know either.
but that's something that I think we need to at least highlight because, as I put here, is that still good? Is that the definitive study on which we're moving forward? I don't think the words need to change unless there's a different conclusion. But we are going to find, as we go through this section, figures and charts that, in my view, are potentially dated and need to be addressed. And that's the first, on page 61 of the paper draft, in section 8.1, there is a reference to the 2008 DENREC study.
Well, can we check to see if there's a later study?
Yes, we could.
So we could just make a suggestion.
And then, as we move further in to total maximum daily load and all, on page 62, figure 12, the inland bays, subbasin, and watersheds, I believe that is still good. In other words, these are the same watersheds. But we're referring to a U.S. Geological Survey chart from 2005 that was updated in 2012. And there may be one that's now newer than that. But I don't think that's changed. But in the paragraph below that chart, it talks about the TMDL standards, and it says that reduction in nitrogen and phosphorus loading from all land use activities within the town of Bethany Beach will be mandatory. Well, is it mandatory now? And this, I just don't know the answer to that.
I don't know either.
And I
Well,
don't,
it sort of has to be, our water people have to follow the state and
Yeah, they do,
federal
yeah.
guidelines. They don't have a question. So I would think that that statement is probably, you know,
correct.
whether they say
Oh,
it or
yeah, I
not,
mean,
it's-
yes,
it
from,
is there.
from that perspective, from our water company, yes, it is mandatory to meet those requirements, not necessarily individuals meeting those
Right,
requirements.
okay. Well, the whole, the section going forward, we might want to think about sending to the water department to just,
To review.
to review it.
I agree. You know.
Because, I hope I'm not losing people out there, but didn't we just add a new station to check the
Water quality?
water quality? I mean, that's something that, So-
We'll have them look at that. John, would you just have the water department look at that section?
Yes.
All right? And make any recommended changes?
That, a lot of this is for surface water to the back bays. I can ask Sean to review it,
Yeah.
but I think that their monitoring system is mainly for saltwater intrusion into that system, not exactly
The same thing,
the nitrogen levels and whatnot on surface water.
right.
Well, that would be probably the county because that's the wastewater
Correct.
as opposed to the water.
But I can certainly ask.
And that, yeah, non-point source nitrogen, that's all wastewater.
Yes.
That's not anything that the town can control.
So if that's the case, why is it in our plan?
I guess because
It's
we
prob-
put it,
No, it's probably required by
by
the
the
state.
state.
Yeah.
I'll bet you, I don't know that.
Yeah, but it's probably, that has to be at least dealt with in our plan, at least we recognize it.
right, because any point source or non-point source,
Yeah.
we have no control over
Correct,
whatsoever.
Yeah,
So,
but at least we recognize what the requirements are.
Then moving ahead, since we're going to be looking at the various charts and all, section 8.2 on soils, to me was, I mean,
I can imagine it changed.
yeah, I can't imagine that it changed either. 8.3 is the beach strand, and I would refer everyone to the bottom half of the first paragraph under 8.3 that talks about the beach and what's been done. But there's a sentence in here that says, in addition to a series of groins installed perpendicularly to the coastline along Bethany Beach to minimize erosion. I mean,
that work
that's years ago.
they're gone.
The groin,
They're buried.
yes, I mean, they were there, but the Corps of Engineers has been now doing the 50-year replacement. I mean, that's a historical fact, but I don't know if this needs to be looked at and rewritten, but it is very dated to me.
How about eliminate it?
Yeah,
That's the best thing to do, because they don't work.
just change the
It's
the
not
town
something
has
that- yeah,
received assistance.
I mean, the town has, just take out the
Take it out.
groins installed perpendicular.
Yes, yeah.
All right. The town hasn't,
Already gone.
has,
You know what, it's probably why the basis, because when the original plan was done, they were doing it.
that's correct.
They
I'll
were
bet you
doing it.
that's- I'll bet you
And
that's
that's why, yeah.
so. And then Susan, paper document, page 66, table 16, housing units in coastal zones, Bethany Beach. currently it's 1997 to 2016.
Oh, they have the data for that.
Okay.
We can do that.
Yeah, I think I gave that to you.
I don't think I have this, I don't think I put this one in, because
What?
there's no marking on this one, on the
All right.
housing.
Table 16, I can do that.
right.
I'll do that. I have that.
Table 16, all right. That's
I mean,
page,
the tables are
Page
switched.
66.
You sent me something for table 15 or 16, but it's different.
yeah.
The 15 and 16 are the previous ones that we scanned in. Unless you sent it to me yesterday.
No. You know, but wondering also, do we have to go that far back? I mean, you can make your table easier if you just make the thing easier by just,
Well, I was just going to do 2016,
Right,
pick something in the middle, and
2016, yeah.
2020.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't think we need to
No.
keep on looking back to 1997.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And this way you can just move all them all over and just keep the same table.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Right.
use the same table. And start in 2009 and then to 2022, 2020, I mean,
9, 20, 20.
yeah. And this way you don't have to create a whole new table.
No, I just have to add, I'll just then add all the info from 2020.
Bingo, yeah. Again, 1997, I mean,
Right.
who cares?
The next table, table 17, Lou, it's a similar situation. Beach replenishment projects.
I think I sent that to you.
I mean, this started in 1989.
No,
Or maybe I sent it to John. No, I'm sorry, I sent it to John.
yeah, because
Yeah, I'm sorry.
when I put it in, I put it in as suggesting, so
Yeah.
we can see both.
Yeah, I asked John to, he will do that, yeah. So we'll have that data.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, the rest of the verbiage there, pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it
And
is.
I don't have any markings as to things that needed to be changed.
Okay?
Page 68, figure 12, the average yearly erosion rates. This is from a source from the year 2000. And there is probably an update from the Heinz Center
Yeah,
for that, as well as figure 13, which is the next one on potential damages, again, Heinz Center 2000.
what I was hoping to do, those kinds of tables, I was hoping to send them to the Institute of Public Administration and have them updated, because that's from the University of Delaware, they would be the ones that have that information.
Cool.
Okay?
Or for 30,000, they can do the entire plan.
Well, that's up,
No,
that's up to somebody else other than.
No, we're not paying $30,000 on this plan, so. They'll charge about $3,000 or $4,000 to do these tables, so.
Moving to page 70, Mr. Chairman, 8.4.1 floodplain. I don't have any expertise here. It says a significant portion of the town lies within a 100-year floodplain. Well, I know the Corps, FEMA or the Corps of Engineers has totally remapped those. And so I don't know if that language still applies,
Yep, 86%.
okay?
Well, can we replace significant with the percent they gave us?
Well, they didn't give it, I calculated.
Susan earned that.
But it's significant, yes.
Yeah, just saying, let's not be too specific, because then we have to update it again when it gets bigger.
Okay? Wetlands, John, you have comment?
Again, I don't have specific comments, I don't have any expertise in this. I'm assuming that things have pretty much stayed the same.
Yeah, reading that, I don't think anything has changed.
Okay.
so-
No.
And then, section 8.4.3, groundwater recharge areas. As far as I know, that is still true.
Okay,
And next section, 8.5, which is trees. I think it's pretty straightforward, except for the last sentences of the second paragraph, where it says, currently 13 municipalities in Delaware participate in the Tree City USA program, including Bethany Beach, Ocean View, and Rehoboth Beach. I don't know if we still participate in the Tree
Yes,
City
we do.
program.
Yes, we do.
I don't know if there's only 13 communities in the whole state.
well, we can just take out
Yeah, well, just say
Delaware,
that,
that we,
that Bethany Beach is,
well, just Bethany Beach.
yeah, just,
Okay.
and take out the other references.
Right,
Can we back up to trees? Or are we still on trees?
yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
So the first paragraph of trees preserving the character of Bethany Beach community includes the protection of its natural visual resources, as well as the built environment. Large foliage such as trees and ornamental shrubs contribute vastly to the visual appeal and the healthy environment that exists in Bethany Beach. Chapter 507 of the Town of Bethany Beach Municipal Code currently provides minimal protection for public trees, shrubs, and plants. That was true in 2012. It is still true today. There is no prohibition on cutting anything down. I'm not saying there should or shouldn't be. I'm just saying that hasn't changed. And we
This
could
is
change that if we...
Public trees, not,
Not residential.
not,
Yeah, but there is also there's no protection for public trees, there's no protection for private trees. but we
protection
s-
for public trees, not private trees.
There's no protection either way, right? You can cut down any tree you want on your own lot.
Yes,
This
but
is saying it provides minimal protection for public. That's still there. Private, you can cut down your trees, yes.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, should that be true? If we're saying that large foliage such as trees and ornamental shrubs contribute vastly to the visual appeal? I'm not saying it's something we're gonna solve today, I'm just saying it's something we might wanna consider at some point in the future. That like you could cut down every tree on your lot, but we say here that it's important to the visual character of the town.
Scott, I know, speaking from experience in Bethany West, in their internal requirements, you have to get permission from the association to take down a tree if it is larger than, I think, 6 or 8 inches
yeah, in diameter.
in diameter. So I don't know if other community associations have similar restraints, but there's at least some parts of this town that have, not in our regs, but in their own community regs.
PRD,
Probably only.
PRD is also, right, isn't it in the PRD plan that with the proposed plan of the PRD, they have to specify the trees, and if they take out a tree, they have to replace it in kind elsewhere? So with larger developments, they have that in place, but for residential,
Yeah. So what that means effectively is this whole south side of town that's wooded on the east of Route 1, south of Garfield Parkway, isn't necessarily gonna stay that way.
Well, I can speak
When
from
they-
experience.
they clear
The
the lots.
insurance company will tell you to take a tree down, because I had to take one down this past year on my property, because they said, we're not gonna cover you unless you take that tree down.
I'm not saying that I'm not really suggesting anything except for pointing out that
Yeah, it's true.
that is not only possible, it's likely as houses get bigger and bigger and bigger, that the character of this side of town won't remain the way it is right now.
There are very few trees on residential lots east of Route 1.
Correct.
The lots are narrow. And there's landscaping, there's all sorts of ornamental shrubs and everything, very few trees. We have the parkways that we maintain, and town properties that are maintained with more trees and everything. But there are very few trees on these narrow 40-foot wide lots. They're just too narrow.
Yeah, I mean, I think it might potentially be something that's tied into to the natural open space that we talk about with our lot coverage. It could be something like, John pointed out, that if you do take a tree down, you have to replace it in kind. I'm just throwing stuff, I'm not actually making these.
I tell you what I'd like to do so we can move along, Scott. Would you bring that up to Andrea and let her put it on the agenda either for the next one or the one after that so that we can specifically deal with it at that point? And I agree with you, I understand where you're coming from, but
Yeah.
Just in order to move along here.
Yeah, it's not something we're gonna solve now,
Yeah.
it's just a.
Okay, good, thank you, appreciate it.
So
John?
we're
Huh?
gonna just take our reference of all the other towns and just keep that we're an amount of,
We're part of Tree City USA, right?
Right,
yeah, rather than mentioning all the other
That's
towns.
correct, that's correct.
that's a good point to discuss.
Further on in, beyond that, it says participation requires that the town have a tree board or department, a tree care ordinance, a community forestry program with a budget of at least $2 per capita and an Arbor Day observance. I don't know if we do,
We do that.
okay.
Haven't you
In
ever
fact, we
gone?
actually got an award, there's awards out here.
John,
I'm sorry I missed it.
you didn't get your
Won't be-
invitation?
Won't be the first time I was asleep at the switch.
Welcome to my world.
Actually, we won an award, remember, for Tree City USA. I actually went to it a couple years ago. Yeah.
Moving on to 8.6, emergency management and natural disaster mitigation. In the second paragraph under emergency response and coordination, again, this is just dated to me. It starts by saying, in March of 2009, Bethany Beach upgraded its emergency notification system. And then we're now using the code red. Well, I don't think we need to say in 2009.
No.
I mean,
Good. Take
we
that.
are using,
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Bethany
take
Beach.
the whole
The
sentence
town
out.
of Bethany Beach.
town is using code red.
Yeah, not now, town is using.
Again, this is a thing that we have to be careful about, keep on adding dates.
Right.
You know, because, you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Yeah.
Further on, still under the same rubric of emergency response and coordination, page 72, second paragraph, we start by saying, annually, the Director of Public Safety for the town of Bethany Beach conducts a public disaster preparedness seminar at our town hall. I know at one, I'm not sure we have been doing it annually.
John, I know we do them occasionally, but do
No,
we do
COVID
it
has
every year?
changed everything.
I mean, I know the,
I've been to a couple of them.
I know that the police department has, in fact, had seminars and meetings about emergency preparedness, but I just don't want to get us caught by somebody at the state saying, well, when's the last time you did a disaster preparedness?
How about use the word periodically?
Yeah,
Okay. And do we still have a Director of Public
No,
Safety?
we do not.
I thought
It's going to get to that.
he, she, or it has been gone for a while.
Yeah,
Was that Ralph?
yeah.
There's no director.
well, we could just say
Say the town of Bethany.
periodically, the town of
town of
Bethany
Bethany
Beach
Beach, yeah.
conducts a public,
Yeah.
all right.
I think Captain Cathell heads that up now with the 5-day evacuation plan or storm preparedness plan, and he's supposed to look at that yearly to update it as needed.
All right.
Oh, so we have an answer. See, John gave us the answer. Very good, thanks, John.
John, the next paragraph talks about the activation of the town's 5-day continuity of operations plan. We still have that, right?
Yes.
Okay. I have no other markups related to environmental protection on page 72.
Okay, anybody have any? Okay, move on.
Page 73, recommendation 3, develop policies to maintain critical natural resources. In that paragraph, we say the town is in the process of developing a downtown park. So we have done that. We have the Central Park, and
Has created a Central Park.
right. And so we can delete the design company and what the plans and all are, and just put some kind of an update related to the town park now being.
I would suggest the town has developed a downtown
period.
park.
Yes.
Okay.
Located in period, and then the rest of it's gone.
Yes, that,
And we
I
don't
just took
need-
care of that.
Yeah,
It's all
that's
gone.
Oh, good.
It's magical.
So you can see this when he comes in, we just, well, the three of us are editing as you're doing this, so we just, but Scott just is ahead of it.
Don't need me. Naturally. Okay, John?
Recommendation 4 on page 73 is maintain interagency coordination for emergency management. Pretty straightforward until you get to the third paragraph under that recommendation. And it says, with the cooperation of the agencies mentioned above, Sussex County, et cetera, the town has conducted a disaster tabletop exercise, held annual emergency preparedness seminars, drafted and implemented National Institute Management System plan. I'm not sure when we last conducted a disaster tabletop exercise.
A couple of years ago,
It's been years.
a couple of years.
So I don't know if we want to leave that in there. I mean,
Say
it's pretty
periodically.
specific.
You have to, a lot of stuff, the state wants to see
Right.
stuff in there.
Yeah.
So just say periodically.
Okay,
Periodically conduct.
got it, Scotty?
Got it, it,
All right.
done deal, John.
Periodically.
It's all done.
Periodically is
I like this.
Preparedness,
Scott.
but not
We got
annual.
some experts over here. Lo.
I know.
We don't need us.
I know that for a fact.
Yeah, me too. Okay, John?
All right.
Drafted, right?
Page 74.
All right, I tell you,
Yeah, okay.
let's take a 5-minute
That would be
break,
great.
because we've been going for an hour and a half,
Okay.
so that I'm not stoned to death here. And we'll be back at 10:30
Perfect.
to continue.
Excellent.
Good job.
I'm sorry to hold it.
Really are.
I'm trying to keep us moving here.
Yeah, I know, Yeah, I've been just doing
I did,
some things.
I did
but
my
you
homework last night.
And they won. Yeah. Continue that.
Now that you're,
All right.
will you contact this person to replace you on the, to replace me on the?
Oh, sure, I know Mark. Yeah.
Ask him if he wants to be planning zoning commissioner.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Because he'll be replacing me.
Yeah. Oh, you're a planning and zoning commissioner?
Huh?
Like, I feel like we're missing something.
No, that's everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he'll,
Because I was the town council representative, now you're the town council.
so I'm replacing you and
You're
he's
replacing-
replacing me. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I guess Mark listened in to the hearing, so he sent me a congratulatory note yesterday.
Good,
So,
so,
yeah,
yeah.
sounds good.
My grandson started last week
Oh, really?
at Virginia Tech.
Congrats, go Hokies.
Yeah,
What's he majoring in?
finance, I think. I'm not, he's out there. I don't know. I hope that, he's a smart kid.
Yeah.
And you know, if he gets his feet on the ground, he'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, you know Diane's granddaughter is starting her second year there.
Oh, is that right?
She's in the architecture program.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he'll have a great time. They started last week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And all of his classes are unfortunately,
I feel terrible for people who are in school right now, because it's not the same experience.
no. And he just finished high school, and of course, he went to my high school, so, you know, contra to what the Gonzaga guys, you know. But
When the kids come back,
he had a rough, I mean, that senior year was, which is a shame. So I still go back to my class, and we had a great time.
I can't imagine.
Yeah,
I mean, just not that they're not doing all the social stuff that you do in college anyway.
Yeah.
But just, you know, how many people you meet in your classes that now you're only going to meet the people you're, you know, immediately rooming with, or like.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just, and so much of what you learn in college is like how to. It's not just what you learn in class. It's how to be an adult. How to like, you know, how to take care of your own laundry. You know, like I think.
I always thought when I was, we were seniors, and I had to pick up a course, you know, for my senior year. The last semester of my senior year, which is, right. So I pick up this class, which was marriage in the family. Well, I said, well, Christ, I'm getting married as soon as I graduate. Maybe I should take this goddamn course. So I did, and I'm sitting in the class, and it was taught by the rector of the seminary,
and besides that, I have all this money.
really couldn't stand us because we were leading all these seminarians astray. and you know, and I looked around the room and I thought, oh, you know, the class with these guys, what a wonderful bunch of people. You know, I really knew all those fellas, and man,
Let me interrupt. Scott, you have clothes that aren't, he has clothes that are older than you are, you know that?
but you know, you looked and
I can see you've been here, John.
they were just wonderful. But anyway, they got in an argument with this guy, and he looks down from the podium. You are going to hell. And the guys looked at him and said, I see you there. and he gets up, walks out of the class. This is the middle of April. Does not return the rest of the semester. It never came back. And
So then it's just the inmates running the asylum after that.
yeah, but I thought, you know, what a shame. He didn't get it because those guys, I still look and say, thank you, God, for you let me be around these people.
I mean, my father-in-law, he got kicked out of Catholic school. And he's the greatest guy I know. I've never met somebody more devoted to his family. Like he
Yeah. Yeah.
They didn't come in at the last moment.
Well,
sometimes you gotta.
I wasn't kicked out, and I was fortunate, but you know, I look, and it makes you wonder. Some,
So that's the second year.
Justice did when they were 16. Like,
One neighbor,
I mean,
Yeah.
politics aside, I don't care what it's like. They do a review for us. If you dig deep enough, you're gonna find somebody doing some pretty dumb stuff.
Big deal.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I think your grandson will have
Oh yeah, he'll do fine, and as I say, it's,
Gonzaga just got a new
but his mother, who's our daughter, oh God,
Yeah.
she takes no prisoners. Jesus.
he's an alumnus.
That's good. That's how my
Hoping that he,
that's how my mother-in-law
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
Just like, you know, she walks softly and carries a big stick. You know, and that's part of the reason why my father-in-law is the greatest guy you know I've ever met. 'Cause he
Yeah.
just, you know,
Oh Lord.
same way.
Hey, Diane.
and it's turned into this.
Scott tells me
Denise is on.
can
talked to her about it. She said, I talked to her.
Holy Sepulchre, which is
I got one like that next week. Oh, yeah. We close the council meeting.
What's his name?
in October.
Well, he stopped now because
They're gonna be able to.
they said, you call us all the time, we're picking you.
It was all, they didn't last year, did it?
Yeah, she's, she stayed in the honors show.
Year round?
Now this new variance, whether they're gonna close the churches.
I mean, I say today
About that.
that
But she's still
our
in
year,
reform.
it's an
Next year,
in-person.
she does her fourth year, she does her,
Right now.
what is it, an internship out? Fourth year, and the fifth year, she'll be, it's a 5-year course, she'll be back. Then I think she'll stay at the town council, not be on the norm. But she's loved it. She has absolutely, you know, no one that goes there does not love it, right?
Oh, yeah, I think that's.
I think so.
Wait till I tell you.
But
Well, we'll see how he does.
Well, where does he live?
Oh, I agree.
Does she live in Maryland?
We actually just walked down,
To get
like,
in.
sort of right after the hearing.
To get in from Virginia Tech. Very, you know, Kate had moved to Texas.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't been to Texas. Because everyone, you know,
We never had dinner, but we've had great drinks and hors d'oeuvres
Virginia, it's tough to get in those
too, and there's an excellent, it's really, really good.
like me.
They make it first rate.
Imagine that.
Okay, we're back in order again. John, you seem to be leading the group here. Let's go. Page 74.
We're on a roll.
We are on a roll.
Well, we might start to go to a slow roll because I'll
Okay, here's this page.
be honest. The number of comments I have for the remaining pages of this document aren't a whole lot, Mr. Chairman.
Well, there's, yeah, and don't feel bad, John, because the document has been pretty good on its own as
Yes.
we reviewed it, so. Okay, we're on page 74, Green Bethany Environment, correct?
Yes, that's correct. And on page 74, I have no comments or suggestions.
Okay, nobody has any comments on that? We'll move along. Page 75.
Again, no specific changes through the remainder of that section. At some point, when we get
Update.
to, like, the draft, the final draft, we might want to make sure that we have, if there are things that need to be added. I'll give you an example, Mr. Chairman. Under initiatives for future consideration, we have greater use of smartphones and wireless broadband computers. I mean, we're doing that. They're now installing the 5G network. I don't know if at some point we would want to add that, Lou.
Well, we also might not say, most of the things are not initiatives anymore. These are
That-
things
right.
that we've actually accomplished, right,
Yes.
John?
What's that?
Most of these things we've actually accomplished, not initiated. You know,
Yeah, I mean, they're
We did.
accomplishments,
we do encourage green vehicles. We have green vehicles now.
right?
We have, the B, I believe we also do that, don't we? Green lawn equipment and green outdoor tools?
We have some electric, yeah, we've actually gone to electric,
Mowers, right?
well, golf carts.
Yes.
Rather than the Kubotas and all, mainly because of noise, but also because of the green initiative, so. And then, we've got solar panels on the top of, Town Hall here, over at the Nature Center. So we do have some different initiatives we've gone through, yeah.
Let me ask one question. Do we have any green vehicle?
Not at this time, no.
Okay, okay.
I mean, we can still encourage it,
Right,
right?
yes,
I mean,
yeah.
we can and should still encourage it.
Yeah.
Then I would keep it future consideration, because somebody could say, well, why haven't you gotten a green vehicle yet?
Yeah.
Green vehicle, I guess if you did it as a full electric vehicle, no. But the newer diesel engines that we get, both in the trolley and Public Works, have the DEF additive they put in it for the
Yeah, the
exhaust
clean
to help.
diesel.
yeah, it's clean diesel. And then the newer gasoline engines we have, they have the green, the green icon that comes on if you stop at a stop sign. It shuts the engine off and it turns back on, so.
John, could you look at that, or have somebody look at that, and, and we can clean that up a bit?
Sure.
Yeah, I guess the, looking at it with the eye, John, that if somebody from the state said, John, tell me about these initiatives that you're doing, that you could answer all those questions.
Yeah.
And that's probably a good way to look at it. Okay, let's move it.
Moving to Section 9, Economic and Community Development. Lou, I believe that this section talks about the labor pool and all. I think that is a state requirement.
It does.
So moving to Table 18 on page 76, this is a I
That's
don't,
another one I think we could send to IPA.
right,
Okay, let's do that.
right.
'Cause that's not something that we would have here.
Right. And then, Mr. Chairman, the last paragraph on page 76, it says, "The labor pool seems to be increasing in diversity." I don't know how we look at our labor pool and all, but I think this would need to be modified or at least updated.
This is diverse, reading the whole paragraph, is old age diversity here?
Right.
But I was gonna, what is the labor pool of Bethany Beach?
A bunch of old people working, well,
A lot of potential energy.
that's right. So, yeah, we need more beach walkers. So, okay. Moving along.
Page 77, 9.1.2, local businesses. It refers to more than 100 businesses. I'm assuming that our number it's not less than it was then.
Well, we can,
But-
again, we can know that by number of licenses, right?
Licenses.
Right, John?
So could you confirm that for us, John? That's all you need to do.
Yes.
And then, under accommodations, we refer to the new Marriott residence.
They take
in-
out.
Yeah, we're gonna take care of that,
Right.
yeah.
And then it talks about other accommodations. There's no mention in here that I saw of Airbnb. I don't even know if that's happening in town.
Yes, it is.
So there would at least, I think, need to be an addition of,
That's a rental home. It's the
Yeah,
same.
it's
Plus
rental.
rentals.
right?
Talks about
Don't we have a number on that? How many rental properties do we have?
Yeah, we can get numbers for rentals.
Yeah.
And that's short-term, long-term.
Yeah, rentals and, long and short term, yeah. That would be the Airbnb aspect of it, yeah.
Under arts, entertainment, and recreation, I think it just needs a review by our activities person to update this. I mean, it talks about, as an example, plays presented by Clear Space Productions. I don't know if Clear Space Productions is still in business.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Well,
going tomorrow.
that's my question mark.
Yes.
And then restaurants and eateries, it says we have more than 30 restaurants.
I'm sure we have more than
I
that.
think we have more than that.
Well, but more is more than 30.
Exactly,
Okay.
yeah, no change necessary, exactly.
We have 30 restaurants.
Again, that's what, like, in the future, we should describe things like that, rather than a number, say,
Yep.
just say more than, you can't be wrong.
Professional services, I'm on page 78. And this thought just hit me. With the experience of COVID and people working at home, this the number of professional services may have in fact changed here in Bethany Beach because people have learned that they can in fact operate from there and offer service. I mean, Scott, you're an example of a professional service. You're an architect. And you have your office, I assume, maybe in your house here in Bethany Beach. I mean, that's,
We used to, for a year, we rented a space on Pennsylvania and Central Avenue. Now our office is in Millville. We have but
But if you look at that, John, if you look at what the things you're talking about, almost all of them are in-person services and not something that you can do, dental work,
Right.
repairs. So I mean, it's a little different scenario than like if you work for a business
right.
that you can then do it from home. But most of those things that are listed there are only in-person only.
some of it, what makes it difficult, at least in the downtown areas, like, if you were gonna have a dental office, well, you wouldn't have enough parking
Exactly.
to
Right.
do that. There also really aren't any offices, there's like maybe a couple of office
right.
spaces, there's no office over retail buildings at the moment.
Plus, it'd be paid parking for,
Yeah, right, yeah. So there just really isn't a lot of, there's demand for it, I think, but there's not a lot of capacity. I think a lot of that stuff is gonna happen, is already happening in Ocean View and Millville, and you see, new.
yes.
So in other words, maybe we should just take out, considering the increase in age and permanence of the town population, there may be significant present and future need for a range of professional offices and establishment. If we're talking about the town, get rid of that.
Yes.
Because the region has, it, just outside, you have dentists and things like that. So just take that out.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And then specialty medical, blank, 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 may be included as targets for future economic development or investment. I would take that out also.
I took that out too. We could add a note that many of these, or most of these services are provided in the surrounding towns.
Yeah, put that, yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah, I
growing.
sort of took that last sentence to mean
Growing.
that.
There-
Yeah.
There's more and more of them as
Yeah.
you go slightly west.
And this way, it addresses that issue,
Right.
but it's not internal, it's external.
And I believe the last sentence there talks about the professional services that are available in the surrounding area can be found on the website. I think that is still true. I made no notations or adjustments to retail stores. It says that we have approximately 50 retail stores. I'm good with that, unless there's something different.
Okay.
I just added a note to confirm that number.
Right.
We can go back to a more than.
Yes, that takes care of it without even checking.
Yep.
Okay. Historical structures. John, you fit into that category.
Yes, I do. And
Why, is your residence a historical
I was
structure?
personally talking about him.
referring to myself. On page 78, under historic structures, Mr. Chairman, I'd recommend that we could delete in 2001 and 2002.
Okay.
I mean, they've completed this inventory, and this is where my marks get thin, because I did not presume to change anything
No.
in the description of any of the historic properties that are here, and would just suggest that the
It's current, they're
Yeah,
current, yeah. There's no new historical I'm aware of. Are you?
I mean, other than
I thought I might know of one that was
the
torn down,
Dinker
but I
House.
don't think so.
I mean,
That's the only one.
That's the,
It doesn't say it was moved or, oh, yeah, it was moved. We have to put something in there about
Yes.
that.
so, page 81, page 82, refers to the first Dinker Cottage that has now been moved
Yes.
to Garfield.
And we'll just put a note in there that it's been moved.
Yeah,
And now is the town's
Relocated.
nature center.
Yeah.
And then on page 83, we talk about historic and cultural resource inventory, and that in 2004, we approved the new cultural and historic committee. I don't know if we need to,
Give a date,
Take out the date.
take out the date, right.
and I don't know if the committee has any thoughts about changing anything in here. It says to date, 16 bronze plaques have been placed. I think we have more than that now, but I could be wrong. And my suggestion, Mr. Chairman, would just be to refer this section to the,
Historical Society.
and ask them.
Yeah, see where, all right.
And just note that this should be,
I think, are we just gonna take out the date on that?
Yeah, at the February
Yeah.
2004 council
It's-
meeting.
Just say the town council of Bethany Beach.
And then it gives,
Wait,
yeah,
Oh, no, I
town
see.
council
Yeah.
was approved as a new standing
Yes.
committee for the town, which should just say that the town has a standing.
Town has a,
yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
town, yeah.
and then the rest of the verbiage there on pages 83, the listing of current
Page 80.
plaques on 84, the residences on 85.
Have we put any more plaques out since then? John, do you know? None?
There's not one on the Dinker House that,
That house has actually been registered under the National Registry of Historical Homes.
okay?
And then through to page 86, again, the standing committee might have some suggestions of some addition, but
All right,
I don't think we need to
No.
try to mess with that.
correct.
Page 87, current economic and community development projects. I mean, we've completed the Garfield Parkway beautification
Correct.
project. I don't know if we want to keep it. Just a,
How about list the thing as completed projects? Because these, a lot of these are
It
are
says that.
recommendations earlier.
says it already.
Huh?
Says
It
completed
says
Garfield.
completed
yeah.
improvements
Yeah.
include the following.
Yeah,
Okay,
we could, underneath that, the picture is the conceptual layout. I don't know if we need that any longer. It's completed.
Yeah, it's done.
It's nice looking.
yeah, I like to have fluff in there.
Okay.
okay. Fills out the page.
Showing how sharp I am. I noted on page 87, we have the aerial photograph, and then we have the conceptual layout.
Right.
Flip-flop.
They are not, well, they're not geographically oriented the same way.
Oh, my God.
Well, I mean, to me,
You're getting dizzy looking at that?
I got dizzy, and I'm dizzy right now because,
It'd be very hard to change that around, I think. That's
All
the
right.
only picture we have, so, taken from the drone.
well, being the total pain that I am, I would have put the conceptual layout
first.
first, and then the completed afterwards.
Is
But-
that easy to do?
we'll find out.
Cut and paste and,
You-
so that'd be figure 14, and, yeah.
Yeah, 14 and 15. It's not a big deal.
Oh,
I'm
hold on,
sorry.
I think he just did it.
Wow.
It's done.
Oh, he's magic, that guy's magic.
It's like,
I need to learn.
yeah, just cut and paste.
All right, so, we just have to swap the
Yeah,
Figure
figure,
numbers.
figure conceptual becomes 14 and the photo becomes 15.
Gosh.
This is why we need to have.
What's, yeah.
And that's we have
That's why I got
to
hired.
have somebody under 70.
That's correct.
It's just like any teenager.
That meets our employment requirement, right? We could probably take out that one paragraph on page 88, below the completed improvements, include the following items. That whole paragraph about the costs associated with it.
Yeah, I mean, all the way to the end, unless you want to keep it there, but I mean, this is,
Old stuff.
right,
Yeah, get rid of it.
Okay.
all right.
And I do like the bandstand picture that shows nobody.
Yeah, these are taken on like a February morning, huh?
That's right.
You can't see people there?
I see some cars.
Again, the improved bandstand
Right.
has been
Done.
done,
Done.
It's filler.
as has on page 89, the nature park.
Well, I tell you, I like the nature park there because anybody who may read this, all of a sudden says, oh, we have a nature park. I
Right.
mean, that
That's true,
may-
that's true.
I mean, the bandstand are gonna know, but,
Yeah, but again, it's a fill.
I
okay.
think we might want to take out in 2002.
Yeah, take
Yeah, yeah,
2002
yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Created, the Bethany Beach created a nature center. How's that?
Yep.
You know, the scary
I'd
part
rather
is-
develop it than
scary part is
create it.
how- I wish my eyesight was as good when reading a book. I can read that so plainly, it's incredible.
Can you really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
develop.
I can't read it at all.
It's not created. We didn't create it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have that much
Created is
power
a- is a
anymore.
very loaded word, yeah.
That's right. Big G did that.
Developed, that's it, better.
Develop, tell us better.
Developed.
It's my Catholic. It's my Catholic.
I've had architecture professors beat that into me too.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't create that,
That's right.
you drew it.
Okay,
Under the picture of the Nature and Conservation Center, goal statement of economic and community development, pretty straightforward. I have no suggested changes. And then we get into recommendations on economic and community development.
At some point, we should put, what we accomplished. There it just says the recommendations, but then we should put some accomplishments on there.
I agree.
And we might be able to do that, Lou, simply. Right now, recommendation 1 says, create a vibrant, active business and commercial lodging district. We've done the lodging district. So, and the follow-on page on page 9, Dave,
So this should be a,
it talks about our creation in 2013 of the lodging district. And then the next goal, Roman numeral 1, I don't know if we ever did these, Lou. Establish a business roundtable,
Yes, we did.
okay? And
They meet periodically, yeah.
all right, well, we need to change establish to, at least in the heading,
I think we might want to add a whole goal set. It sounds like we're going to be kind of ping-ponging around between goals and accomplishments if we just change the heading.
Yes,
So we should
yes, it's better.
put, so I'm just noting that we should adjust this and we can do it
or you could.
outside the meeting or whatever.
You could just do it, because I was struck by the same thing, that suddenly we went from just sort of straightforward to talking about various goals and so forth.
And then, let's say, Lou, that we all of these goals are actually accomplishments, the state's gonna wanna see some other goals, I would imagine.
Yes,
So we're gonna have to develop whatever
yes, exactly.
those things are.
Yep.
Page 91, I have no changes to the arts, entertainment, and recreation section, that encourage historic preservation activities, and maintain public involvement in future projects. I mean, we do all of those things. And now, on page 92, this is recommendation 5. This is evaluate and recommend effective approaches that focus on the compatibility of extra-large houses with the existing housing stock in Bethany Beach. I mean, we did that with the bulk density
Ordinance,
ordinance.
yeah.
And it is referred to in there, but I think this, and I did not write language, Mr. Chairman, but I think that whole lead-in to the passage of the new ordinance chapter needs to be looked at and potentially revised to be more reflective of where we are today than when we were back then.
Well, I guess I have a question on that. Really, it's been done.
Yeah, it's been done.
And we don't have any plans at this point to, at least, the commission hasn't made any recommendation that we're gonna do anything else at this point, so why
Why
don't
don't
we
we
just?
just put, that, we created a bulk
It's right
density
there,
ordinance,
You could,
and that deals with that issue,
Right,
and get all the.
done, yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I just noted this as on the side there, that this should be an accomplishment, that the
Right.
bulk density requirements established. I think maybe in the spirit of moving things along, we do that, we figure out the language on that outside of the meeting. We just know we need to change it.
We could do it on the final,
Yeah.
final review, but, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
The way I'm looking at it is we can almost take everything but the
Right.
bottom parts out,
Yeah.
okay?
and
We're getting close.
we are 2 pages away
That's
from
right.
being through the first run, Mr. Chairman. So, number 10, page 93, proposed major capital improvement projects. All of this needs to be updated and changed because we talk about new term projects. The streetscape, that's done,
It says that.
right?
Well, let me ask a question. Do we have any major capital improvement projects in the future that we're thinking about? And I really ask that to the council people and John and Susan, I mean,
Do we have any major, we have, yes, we just talked about one today.
Central Park.
No, and the big plan for,
North Atlantic,
yes. No, not Atlantic,
walkway.
now, hold on a second. Central Boulevard Drainage, Central Boulevard Drainage Project.
Yes, Central
That's a huge
Boulevard
project,
drainage,
$800,000, so.
Right.
and we're
How much is it?
currently budgeted for preserving the land strip at Lake Bethany, between
Yes.
Lake Bethany
Yeah.
and the Loop Canal, and then also the maintenance, dredging, and marsh creation along the Loop Canal.
Right. Yeah, could we get a list for those?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Some of those will be, I mean, Central Boulevard will be finished by the time this gets submitted to the state.
Yes, but at least we address it, put it as a project and then
Yeah,
complete it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Collins Street, the pedestrian walkway down Collins Street.
That's another for safety issues, yeah.
Okay.
We'll
Right,
get a
so
list.
I guess what we're saying here is show what we did and then add, if John could get those for us, add, and John, if you could put, you know, the words together, we'll just put those
Yeah.
down and the next review do it.
Future projects, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right, good, that takes care of that.
Lou, is North Atlantic still considered a future project? The redesign of North Atlantic or South Atlantic?
That's on hold right now, right? Because of cost right now? And we're focusing on the other project, which is much more, you know, the one, the Central Boulevard.
But that would still go here,
Yes.
if it's on the books.
It's in the, it's forecasted for some time.
future.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the next 10 years.
In the next 10 years?
Yeah.
There you go,
Okay.
okay, all right.
Mr. Chairman,
And, wait a minute, ongoing capital intensive projects flooding. We have continued to search for viable solutions, possible, et cetera, et cetera. Should those words be modified? Any recommendations? John? Lou? Well, we can catch that on the next review then, if you want.
Yeah.
I mean, would you, I don't know that you would say anything differently.
Yeah,
Okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
And the last page is blank. So, very
left
good.
intentionally.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that was excellent. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Anybody have any comments, or? All right, so the next thing, I guess, on this project is, once all the changes are made, then we review that. And I would suggest we review it independently on your own, and any changes that you may have, or recommendations, add, whatever, you bring back individually, or, you know, our tag team over here knows everything. Back to the next meeting, I guess, or do you want to wait 2 months to do that?
Well,
It's up-
how long will it take we're sending
Well,
some of
that's
these
true.
tables out to
Yeah,
get-
I have no
Yeah,
idea.
let's make it October, at least.
Except, I have no idea how fast IPA is going to do, and it's a
Right.
cost.
Yeah,
It's a, so we have to get approval from that, too. I think it's $3,000 or $4,000, so.
yeah, and I think our budget's only, what, 3 for the whole thing?
So, yeah, we're going to have to make a list of the tables that we want to send them.
Okay, why don't we do it this way? Unless we hear otherwise, we won't convene again on this until October. If the information we need for updating of all the tables is not available in October, we will delay it until such time as it is available.
Or we can do or another way is look at all the things that we've changed, because I don't think it's going to be a big deal to just, because we're not, just take
Take
those.
them and
put 'em
in.
And put them in.
Right.
So rather than say, so let's do October, if
Okay.
you want, and then we'll look at the plan, make sure everything is lined up right, all the tables are
Oh,
numbered
correct, yeah.
correctly.
What-
And then we can basically put the project on hold until we get the stuff back from IPA.
Okay, now John won't be able to attend October's meeting.
September's meeting.
It's September's meeting?
Right.
Okay,
Neither
well,
will
that's
I.
good,
Can't-
so
we
that's
can't
why I
either.
said October.
neither will I, just,
And September you can't, well, then I think maybe we will skip the September meeting.
Yes.
No?
And we'll go, the next meeting
Are we
we
going to talk
have will
about
be,
permeable
well, we're gonna have 2 people gone
in September?
in September.
Okay.
talking about the
Right,
10th, right?
So there'll only be,
17th.
there'll only be 2 of us,
Right.
3 of us,
No, there'll be my replacement,
non-voting.
I
non-voting.
don't vote.
No, he
You'll
can
be
vote.
here.
No, because I'm, 'cause I'm
He'll be the
replacing.
council
Yeah, I'm
rep.
replacing him, so he can vote.
Oh, the council rep can vote. I
No,
thought-
no. I'm coming off, he's a council rep, I'm replacing the former him who's non-council.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
You didn't
You're
tell
gonna
me.
be on the council.
Oh, so you'll be on the council and on the planning and zoning?
No,
All right,
he's planning zoning
right,
Right,
and council.
right.
right. Can't
I'm
vote.
off.
You're off.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Right,
Right.
I have to replace him
right.
as a non-council person. He's a non-council person right
Right.
now, so we're replacing him.
They have
We're
to
gonna
find,
re-
they have to
We've
find
gotta find a new
somebody.
We
plan.
have a,
Oh, I thought you were saying you were replacing.
have a potential
No,
replacement.
we have to get another
For
person.
him. And we have somebody, we have a good candidate we're gonna ask.
I went to school with him.
All right, so we have 3 votes. Susan,
I don't vote.
oh, you don't vote either. We only have 2 votes, unless you appoint before that, unless the council appoints them before that. So we just won't meet in
All
September.
right, all right, well, I'll do something and send it out for review anyway.
Yes.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah, that's,
And we can
that's
put
it.
it
So,
And then we can make it, at the next meeting, and then we'll waive the second reading at council.
Okay.
so there will be no September meeting. All right, that's from the chair. No September meeting. We will have an October meeting, and,
Which is good, because I will be tired
and then hopefully the,
from Hawaii.
16th of October.
and then, huh?
16th of October.
16.
October 16th, and hopefully by that time, the council will have appointed
I'm not looking forward,
somebody
Yeah,
really.
to replace Scott.
yeah.
Okay. All right, are there any questions?
More time. And we're not stopping.
So the summary of today's action is, we have deferred any action on 425-27 until the next meeting. Susan, you're going to
Yes,
clear all that up for us.
yes.
At the next meeting also, we are going to have a, hopefully, if we can get everything done, a review of, hopefully maybe a final review of the 10-year plan update.
Yep.
And hopefully, we'll have a member to replace Scott. Did I miss anything? I think that's about it.
Yeah.
So, good. Any questions? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.